Okay. We are here in the PUB meeting room, and we are starting. It's about 12 o'clock today, Monday, July 17th. Can I have confirmation of a quorum?
Confirmed.
And can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay, good. Just, we don't get feedback. So we will call the meeting open. Are there any public comments?
No public comments.
Okay, great. Moving on, we will go to item number 1, consideration and possible action of approval of the June 1st, 2026 Southmost Regional Water Authority Board meeting minutes. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to the general manager's report.
Mr. President, members of the committee, we are here, and you can have, you'll see that our staff will be providing and starting with the operational report.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Jacob Galvan, and I will be presenting the production district report for the month ended May 31st, 2026. On tab 2 of your board binders, we'll have the SRWA water distribution summary and true-up estimate. I'll start on column C. We have the SRWA total distribution. The year-to-date was 1,664.595 million gallons for a daily average of 6.85 million gallons. On column F, we have the distribution for BPUB. The year-to-date was 1,549.289 million gallons for a daily average of 6.376 million gallons. On column G, we have the distribution for value mud number 2. The year-to-date was 42.611 million gallons for a daily average of 0.175 million gallons. On column H, we have the distribution for Los Fresnos. The year-to-date was 34.409 million gallons for a daily average of 0.142 million gallons. On column I, we have the credit for B&D. The year-to-date was 34.957 million gallons for a daily average of 0.144 million gallons. On column J, we have the allocation for Indian Lake. The year-to-date was 3.329 million gallons for a daily average of 0.014 million gallons. On the bottom, we have the true-up estimate, where BPUB is over by 2.71 million gallons. Valley Mud number 2 is over by 0.83 million gallons. And the city of Los Fresnos was under by 3.54 million gallons. Can you hear me, or I feel like it's... Can you hear me?
We can hear you. I don't know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can they hear
I can you
online?
just fine.
I feel like it's like low. I don't know. I'm used to the
Yeah, the
other
echo.
boardroom, I guess. Okay. On the next page, we have the production distribution report for the month of May 2026. The total water produced on the third column from the left, the total was 198.027 million gallons for a daily average of 6.388 million gallons. On the last column, or the first column, on the far right, we have the total water distributed. The daily average was 197.988 million gallons for a daily average of 6.387 million gallons. Below, we have the chemical consumption cost. The total for the month was $97,235 with 71 cents. And the electrical consumption costs were $94,737 with 14 cents. On the next page, we have events to reduce water production. On the 9th, we had a power outage at the well field due to a blown fuse on the main power pole. This was a power pole that feeds the whole well field. And we're down for 5 hours. And on the 21st of May, we also had another power outage at the well field. Blown fuse on the main power pole as well. And this pole would also power the whole well field, right? So the whole well field was down. On the 27th, we had a scheduled shutdown to replace the battery backup for the RO PLC, and we're down for 4 hours.
So this was one of 4 questions I mentioned I would ask. So this was the same power pole that blew?
I'm not sure if it was exactly the same power pole, but it was a power pole that fed the whole well field.
Okay, is it worth discussing this with AEP and talking about how they size their, their fuses for this? Just,
We can have that conversation with them and discuss it.
yeah, it's
and-
worth asking, because, I mean, if we're going to keep losing time to that.
Right. And that was one of the reasons why we ended up we're applying for grants, and we're in the process of allocating additional backup generations. So the backup generators will pick up to production costs. If you recall, for our other water treatment facilities, this is one of the more expensive, treatment plants. And so while it's reduction in operations and the amount of water that is here, the other ones are able to pick up the capacity
Right,
and at
right.
a more economical cost.
Right. Just thinking about all the equipment as well and any surge protection we may or may
Yes.
not need. But so it's worth just talking to AEP, seeing if this is going to continue or not. Yes, sir.
Can you please come to the
Oh, you got to talk in a microphone.
Sorry, this is Jose Armando Garza. I just wanted to mention and clarify that AEP is responsible up to the meter. This fuse is after the meter, and that's the responsibility of VPUB's crews, and they are the ones that go in and replace it. The
Oh,
fuse,
okay.
yes.
Okay, so it's worth asking ourselves if we need to resize those fuses. Because it sounds like we're only serving the well field, so that means we tripped it, there's something going on with our equipment. It's worth asking the question where that event came from.
Right. Noted that.
Okay,
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. So on the next page, we have the iron, manganese, and arsenic removals, where you see all the constituents were under the, meeting standard. You do see an increase of ferric 2.0. We ran a test, right, staff noticed an increase of sand coming into the microfiltration system during the monthly CIPs. So since ferric's a coagulant, we ran a test for like 2 weeks just to see if we can coagulate more sand and filter it out through our sand strainers. So that's why you see the increase of a 2.0 ferric, but we're back to 1.0. It was just
Did
it was just a
it
test.
work or?
No, we still see kind of about the same amount of sand.
Okay,
So-
have you guys, I guess this would have been in the individual well test. Like, do we know what well the sand is coming from?
No, we don't. We feel like it might have been the ones during the rehab, like some of the sand that came into the header lines, and maybe they're just making their way in. So
Okay.
we think it may be those.
Okay.
But we do have like a sand tester that we can go and verify. I mean, we have, and so as of now, we don't like. It's a device that we put onto the tap, and it accumulates sand, and we didn't see anything in it. So we're assuming maybe during the rehab it blew maybe into the header lines and then made its way into the plant.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's
But,
what
I
we're-
mean, by now, that would have been cleared from the lines, right? I mean, those rehabs
Yeah.
were a few
Yeah,
months
some
ago.
time ago. Yeah, honestly, we're not too sure. That's why we ran this test, just to see if that
Okay.
was going to help any or not. And
Might be interesting to try shutting down individual wells and see, do the
Yeah.
sand collection test and
Mhm.
just see how that varies based on the well. And then we can add that into the models so we
Sure.
pick our wells intelligently.
okay.
Along those lines, well, I guess, okay, so the ferric was to coagulate out the sand, and so that explains that. How do you guys choose your wells now?
So wells 1, 9, 11, and 19 are the highest producing manganese wells. So those are the ones that we've been consistently leaving off. 17 was just on the outer edge. Like it is a higher producing, not higher than those other 4, right? It's like 5th, so it's still in rotation.
So do you guys use the volume averages that we do? Because it's not just the amount of manganese you produce, but it's also the amount of water.
A lot of
And
water,
so
right? Yeah.
if you produce a lot of manganese, but then a crud ton of water, then it kind of averages out.
Mhm.
I'll send that back just so that, because I think turning off 18, was one of the better performing wells versus some of the other ones we could have turned off.
Yeah, just to note too, like if 17 produces well, we say double, right? We call it a double well. It's not a double well, right? But it produces more flow than the other one. So
Yeah.
if I turn that one off, or if I turn that one off, I need 2 other wells to compensate for it. So
Right.
then that leaves me like with 1 standby well. And right now, currently, I have 1 scheduled for a pump replacement. So I do have 1 off. Well 13 is off.
Well 13?
Yeah, for a pump replacement. I think it was 13, right? Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
Right, it's showing on right now, but it just
but
recent.
Now
It's
we'll
just
be taken
recent.
off.
Sorry, it was I jumped ahead. It was on. So on this slide here, you can see the ROs and well pumps that were on during sample collection, and you can see in green wells 1, wells 1, 9, 11, and what was it? 1, 9, 11, and 19 were off. On the next page, we have a graph showing manganese levels with a 5% blend. On this next slide, we have a graph for the arsenic levels and chlorine dioxide at 0.3 and the ferric at a 2.0. On this page, we have a graph comparing water production distribution for fiscal years 25 and 26. And on this last page, we have a graph comparing water plant production for Bronzo's 3 water plants.
Can I make a small request?
Mhm.
These graphs have always bothered me, and so now that I find out I'm on the board for another 4 years, and you guys have to put up with me for another 2, at least. Fine, we show Brownsville and what percentage of water we're producing for SRWA for Brownsville. But yeah, this is a regional water plant. So is there any way we could work in information, about how we're doing for, Los Fresnos, for Valley Mud, for the Port of Brownsville?
Okay, graphing the rest of the.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's just a number, but I mean, again, emphasizing the fact that this is not just PUB.
So, yes, we can do that. It's just going to take a little bit of commitment from the members and partners to provide us their whole water production costs that they're selling into their off-takers. And so, for example, at the port, if they give us transparency as a holistic what they're selling to, and the same thing for Valley Mud, Indian Lake, and all of that. So, but it may not be for the next meeting, but we'll see when to come up with a schedule of when we receive that data, so we make sure that we get it into the actual reporting. So let me discuss with staff and find out and how much of a lift, and then make sure that all of the entities provide by a certain timeline and coordinating that data to be provided here.
Yeah, and the goal would be not to make this much of a lift, but, hey, we produced, or we used a total of 100 megagallons per day, and you guys gave us 1 megagallon per day. Then we can do the math pretty quickly. But yeah.
And
Okay.
make sure that it doesn't go across. Please let me know so I can get the people
Okay.
to send you the information.
Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Great job, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. Jorge Santillan, Finance Manager. We'll go over the authority's financial performance as of May 2026, beginning with looking at the last column, beginning with operating revenues from member assessments, 5,194,242. From this amount, we minus line number 10, total operating expenses of 4,252,744. This results in operating income on line number 11 of 941,498. The following slide, we add the line number 18, the net non-operating revenues of 108,106, and this results in the change in net position of 1,049,604. We add this amount to the net position at the beginning of the year, results in a net position at the end of May 2026 of 27,938,339. This next 2 slides, we show the expenses by classification by type and account. And just as a reference point, the month of May represent 66.7% of the fiscal year. So we will, on the budget, the last column, we would like to see be at least at no more than the 66.7. And most of the classifications, except with the second one, the 71 operating office expenses, that's the only one that exceeded that percentage. But hopefully, as the year progresses, we want to stay within budget and end the year overall within budget. The very last slide, the last number, the actuals spent through May, second column, 3,350,963, which represents 61% of the total budget. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, sir. On your percentage U.S. combined ownership graph, I don't know if I'm missing something here. At the bottom, reading left to right, January through December. So this is, on the left, we're seeing 27.5 for June. So where do we find that number in the graph? Is- Okay, here we go. Here we
Yeah,
go.
it's that blue line.
We're in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're showing for the whole year. Okay, I got it now.
I want to talk to you guys about your colors selection.
Yeah, it's very
They're
difficult.
pretty bad. Like this is blue and slightly less
Blue,
blue.
blue, and green, and
Yeah, so maybe diversify. We have a whole rainbow. Yeah, something so it stands out. Yeah. Wait, what? 7? Okay, I was looking at the clouds or the radar and saw that coming, but wow, okay. We'll cross our fingers. I know for a brief day or two we crossed over 28% and then it dropped again. But
Yep.
yeah. Oh. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, after that somewhat hopeful update, we'll go on to the discussion of the fiscal year 2027 initial budget draft. Jorge?
This is the first draft of the FY 27 budget. This includes the O&M, debt service, and capital. We'll start with a summary, then we're going to take a look at the allocation for participants, then the information, more detail on the O&M and personnel and non-personnel, and then the capital outlay. This is a summary. The O&M for FY27, it's 5,515,115. This amount is, the proposed amount is 19,131, or 0.35% over the approved FY26 budget. Next, the debt service, the amount is 2,275,075. This proposed amount is 7,490, below the previous year. The capital, 3,704,270. Funding sources include the 2.1 million cash on hand, 1.2 million in grant revenue, and 376,968 from member assessments. This represents a 14,153 over the previous year assessment. And then the interest earnings, this amount reduces the required contributions from the participants, and this amount is 10,000 higher than the previous year. On the right side, the total FY27 proposed member assessments is 7,807,158, which is an increase of 15,794 from FY26. This slide, we have the FY27 budget allocation by participants, along with a comparison to FY26. Column A, we have the participants. Column B, that's the allocation percentage. Column C, that's the total debt service. On line 6 shows the total amount of 2,275,075. Column D, that's the proposed O&M budget. Line 6, 5,515,115. Column E, the capital budget from the assessments of 376,068, shown on line 6. And then column F, that's the amount that reduces the contributions. This is the interest on the investments of 360,000. The total proposed allocation, again, is 7,807,158. This is 15,794 higher than the FY26 number, or 0.20% higher. The next, this slide and the next 5 slides show the contributions for each of the participants from FY21 through the proposed fiscal year 2027. And this is BPUB, Valley Municipal Utility District number 2, City of Los Fresnos, Brownsville Navigation District, Town of Indian Lake. And this is the company-wide summary showing all the budget allocation from actuals from 2021 through 2025, and then the budget for 2026, column G, and then the proposed on column H.
Mr. Santillan?
Yes.
How do you come up with the proposed capital budget amounts?
We're going to go over that slide in a few minutes.
Okay.
We'll cover that one.
Okay.
Here we have the proposed personnel budget breakdown by category. In line number 1, we have the wages. On the column, that's column A. Then column C, we have the approved budget for 26. Column D, that's the proposed budget for 27. And then the last column, column E, that's the increase or decrease from the FY26 approved budget. Wages, the proposed amount is 629,070. BPUB administrative support, 59,059. The proposed promotions, 36,691. The overtime for eligible positions, 36,596. Taxes and benefits for all the positions, 467,062. And then a proposed cost of living adjustment totaling 29,377. With a total overall personal budget, 1,258,755, which is an increase of 131,272 from the FY26. Now, this is a preliminary budget. More likely, I feel that amount may go slightly down as we refine the numbers. But again, the final next month will show you if better.
So the cost of living adjustment is interesting because it's doubled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Last year we used 2% cost of living. Here we're using 3.5. Of course, the last year was
Okay.
based on lower wages. This is slightly higher wages.
So just
Yeah.
taking into account that the cost of living has gone up
Yes.
so high. Okay.
Let me add a little bit more. That is based on an index, and so the index last year was less than the index for this year, and what we're seeing for the index for this year is projecting to be at the 3.5, and that's how the number is. Is it the number out now, or I'm not sure if it's already out, the one that we utilize for the index?
This 3.5 is as the index as of June. We're waiting for the July index, which as per I guess our procedures or policy, that's the July number. That's the one we need to propose.
And just for documentation purposes, what's the exact index again? CPI or?
Yeah, CPI.
It was
Yeah, the CPI.
Okay.
And this is nationwide, correct? Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry, how many employees? Like this?
How many employees?
I'm afraid you're going to have to talk into your microphone. Sorry.
How many employees is this consist of?
There's somebody from,
I mean, I get the wages part. I just want to know how many employees.
Yeah, there's 8 full-time employees.
How many?
8.
8?
8. Plus, like for myself being the manager, 25% of my salary comes from SRWA, the other 75 from BPUB.
Okay.
Yes, and also the division manager, there's a percentage. I think it's 10% for the division manager, and the rest is from SRWA.
Thank you.
Sure.
okay. This slide and the next slide, we show the main variances by line item between FY 26 and 27, along with a brief comment. There's some increases and decreases shown on some of those line items. On this, the overall total on line number 11, the variances is 19,131 over FY 26. This is the this and the next slide. This is the budget request for all the line items. Column E, that's the FY26 approved budget. And then column I, that's the year-end projections. Column J, the proposed budget. And then the column K and L, that's the variances between FY27 and 26. Now this is the capital section. Beginning on line number 2 through 5, this is the funding sources. Line number 2, that's the cash on hand, 2,135,652. Then we have the member assessments of 376,068, and then the grants revenue of 1,191,650. So I guess to answer your question, hopefully I can answer your question. This is we get all the requirements. Then we subtract the cash on hand, the grant revenue, and then any remaining shortage has to come from the member assessments. If I can continue on the expenses side, on the capital outlay, beginning on line number 8 through 17, these are the capital projects. They total on line number 18, 3,622,438. Next page, we have also capital equipment, line number 20 through 22. This totals 81,832. So the total funding sources is 3,704,270. So this amount, line 24, matches the line number 5, which is the total funding sources, so 3,704,270.
So for instance, on line number 10, variable frequency drive unit replacement, I guess number 6 we've already replaced, is that correct?
This might be an ongoing project. This is the amount that is expected to be spent in next fiscal year.
Okay.
So many of these projects, they're ongoing. There have been expenses. This is the balance that is anticipated to be spent in the following fiscal year.
Okay, so, but we don't know, is that 276 the original amount, or is that what's left in that account, or how does that handle?
I think that's what is left as of, I believe, as of June. So if that amount goes down, then the in line number 2, the cash on hand is gonna go down as well. So those
Yes,
are gonna
I
offset
understand.
each other.
Yep.
Yeah, might not hurt to have just a small update on all these projects, all the capital improvement projects next meeting, just so we know where we are and what's been spent.
If I could say something on whenever on the budget requests and the budget items, it would be nice if we had a percentage on their percentage of completion on some of them. Now, some of them are going to be ongoing for sure throughout. Like, there's some ongoing projects that we always are doing. But if y'all could provide us, percentages of completion on each year, because some are multi-year projects, it'd be nice to know, like, hey, we only got 5% completed on this one project whenever you're doing a budget request, so we can make sure that's allocated properly.
We have visibility and more details behind every one of these projects, and so we'll get together with staff and provide you that information. We'll circulate it via emails if you'd like, on there. But we do have every single project when the timing, and we have now an e-builder software mechanism that we're tracking for the staff, and so we'll provide you that. And we also have, for each one of these projects that are submitted, additional sheets that are representative of each one of the projects where they're at. And if there's any details, I think of right now from Planter, you can provide at the time any specifics you'd like to know.
Okay, and it wouldn't hurt to just have something public-facing as well, so we can
Okay.
talk about it next meeting or so.
Mhm.
But yeah.
And the last item, the two items, line 26, 26, yes, 26. As you know, we're conducting right now the online number 12, the manganese study. At the end of that study, then the staff is gonna, whatever is gonna require any whatever results from that study, staff thinks that the first year expense will be that amount, the $2 million for year one. So right now, that amount is like future funding to be determined. At that time, we'll come back and if that's the amount or any other amount, we'll recommend possible funding sources to fund that item.
So this is great. I mean, despite the fact that our CPI is, 3.5% right now, you guys have managed to kind of keep the assessments to less than 1%, less than 0.5%, less than 0.25%. So this budget reflects kind of SRWA's and the management team's hard work. And so I just kind of wanted to say thank you for that. But yeah.
And if there's no other questions, this concludes the presentation.
Sound good? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Okay, so moving on to, actually, there was a question I wanted to ask about the previous presentation. Well, I'll just ask offline. Not a big deal.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. So moving on to the next item, we'll go on to consideration and possible action to approve the renewal of the annual groundskeeping maintenance service contract.
Hello, everybody. I'm Travis Menchaca, Facility Manager for BPUB. And today I'll be discussing the renewal of the annual groundskeeping maintenance services contract for SRWA. So right now I'll go over the current contract. On May 8th, 2023, the BPUB Board of Directors approved the annual groundskeeping services contract for 2 years with Valley White Tree Trimming LLC from June 1st, 2023 to May 31st, 2025. On May 1st, 2023, the SRWA facilities were approved by the SRWA Board from June 1st, 2023 to May 31st, 2025. The awarded contract gives the BPUB the option to renew the contract for 3 additional 1-year periods. On June 2nd, 2025, the BPUB Board approved the renewal of the groundskeeping contract for the period of August 1st, 2025 to July 31st, 2026. On August 4th of 2025, the SRWA Board approved its portion of the contract in the amount of $126,600 for the period of August 1st, 2025 to July 31st, 2026. Now I'll be discussing the performance. Valley White Tree Trimming LLC has performed groundskeeping services for 306 BPUB facilities for the past 3 years. The groundskeeping services contract has been successfully executed each year. Valley White Tree Trimming LLC allocates 20 employees to the BPUB contract and an additional 10 employees during rainy seasons. Scope of services. Valley White Tree Trimming LLC provides all material, labor, and equipment to perform the required groundskeeping services. The scope includes grass mowing, tree and plant trimming, and removal of trash and clippings from each site, sweep all paved parking lots and sidewalks, keep all concrete free of vegetation, including all main building areas, pre- and post-emergent herbicide application in the fall and spring, fertilize the perimeter of the main buildings, provide gardening services and removal of encroaching trees, perform pond maintenance, provide levee and slope mowing services and manual trimming due to uneven terrain, trimming services for palms, and trees above 8 feet or higher as needed, and 2 cycle services. So here is the cost breakdown. SRWA wells, 20 locations, that's 50,400. SRWA generators, that's 3 locations, 4,560. SRWA office area, 3 locations, 71,640. Palm and tree trimming, 16 palms, that's $1,600. So the groundskeeping services total is $128,200. So here is a slide showing the contract versus performing the work in-house.
So I want to point out, this is another example of horrible color choice. Yeah,
it.
I think it must be an
I'll
Excel
adjust it.
default, but like, yeah, savings and contractor costs, tell me the difference
Yeah,
in
I
those
got you.
colors. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Savings should always be in
I-
green, guys, just letting you know. Savings always should be a green color, just so we
There
are
we
all
go.
aware.
that must be the Excel default. I have a question. Was this, did we table this last meeting at PUB?
Yes, and it's scheduled to be at today's afternoon meeting, back on there. The PEB board requested for us to go back and ask on a month-to-month contract. The contract provided an additional 10%. And so based on the questions from other board members from the PEB board contract, we've answered those. And so it's intended to be approved in consent later on this afternoon at our regular scheduled PEB board meeting.
I mean, is there any problem with us getting out ahead of the PUB board? Because, yeah, we're basically using a contractor that the, utility's using.
I don't
Yeah,
see
we're
a
sharing the
problem
same
getting
cost.
ahead of this here unless legal sees an issue or a contract. I think typically we go ahead and approve here and then we approve to the PEB board.
So, good afternoon. My name's Estrella Solórzano, Director of General Services for BPUB, and I oversee facilities maintenance. The agenda summary states that, Dr. Holman. It states that this item for SRWA that is tied to a larger contract that is subject to renewal by BPUB.
Okay.
So
And-
it's in the agenda summary
Okay.
that we will be presenting, subject to whatever happens this afternoon. We would follow your recommendation or your approval, if that's
Okay.
what it is.
Okay, and so we resolved all the questions that the other a month ago. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so here, contract cost is on the left-hand side. The total is $976,440. If we did if we performed the work in-house, which is the column in the middle, that would be a total of $1,222,156.81. So by us moving forward with the contractor cost, we're saving at approximately $245,716 versus us performing the work in-house. That's not including us purchasing the equipment and everything else. That's just strict labor. So the timeline, July 2026, for July 2026, as of May 21st, we presented at the Facilities Program Committee. July 13th, today, SRWA board meeting, and then later on today, we have the BPUB board meeting to present as well. And then later on in July, we'll issue a new PO for contract renewal term in August 1st, 2026 to July 31st, 2027. Attached are some photos showing the work that the contractor has performed. And do I have any other additional questions?
So in reality, we're saving more money because you didn't even include the purchase of equipment, correct?
Correct.
That's a no-brainer.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to make a motion?
Okay. Motion to approve is on the table. Anybody want to second it?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, next item is consideration and possible action for bid award for annual supply of water treatment chemicals. Sir.
Mr. President, members of the board, again, Jose Armando Garza, Water Treatment Manager. Invitation to bid was advertised in the Brownsville Herald on April 18 and April 25th, 2026. The bid was emailed to 27 vendors, with 17 vendors responding. The BPUB Purchasing Department opened bids for the annual supply of water treatment chemicals on bid 03826 on May 14, 2026. The following are the evaluated low bidders meeting specifications. For sodium hydroxide, 25%. The low bidder was Univar Solutions with an extended price of $26,640. For the sodium hydroxide 50% solution, the low bidder was Univar Solutions with an extended price of $40,260. For calcium chloride, again, the low bidder was Univar Solutions for an extended price of $896,280. For ammonium sulfate, the low bidder was Chemtrade Chemicals at an extended price of $42,625. For sodium bisulfite, the low bidder was Southern Ionics with an extended price of $46,505. I'm sorry, $550. For citric acid 50%, the low bidder was Chemrite with an extended price of $54,304 with 80 cents. For the sodium chloride, the low bidder was International Dioxide with an extended price of $64,980. For the chlorine, it was PVS DX with an extended price of $232,320. And for the ferric chloride, it was PVS with an extended price of $26,688. These chemicals are used for the adjustment of pH, disinfection, dechlorination, membrane cleaning, and water stabilization. The chemical contracts are from September 1st, 2026 to August 31st, 2027. Are there any questions before I read the motion?
I know Judy told me this, and I completely forgot. What's the calcium chloride for again? What's its purpose?
It stabilizes the water. Reverse osmosis removes most of the minerals, like 95%, 96% of the minerals. Water without minerals is very corrosive. So this chemical is added back to adjust the corrosivity potential.
Okay, so this is for that. Okay.
Yeah. Going forward with a motion, SRWA staff recommends bid award for the annual supply of chemicals to the low bidders. Meeting specifications as follow. Univar Solutions in the amount of $963,180. Chemtrade Chemicals in the amount of $42,925. Southern Ionics in the amount of $46,550. Chemrite in the amount of $54,304 with 80 cents. International Dioxide in the amount of $64,980. PBSDX in the amount of $232,320. And PBS Technologies in the amount of $26,688 for a grand total amount of $1,430,647 with 80 cents.
Mr. Garza, on a number of these chemicals, we're showing all these vendors, but we're just getting one bid. For instance, chlorine, liquid chlorine, you have one bid.
Correct. For chlorine, historically, there's only one supplier in South Texas, and basically this supplier is the one that supplies the whole valley. Other suppliers, there's others like in Louisiana, maybe Oklahoma, but they're not competitive with this supplier because this supplier is based out of a Corpus Christi. So in transportation, the other suppliers won't be able to compete with them.
So we're seeing that also in sodium bisulfite. We're seeing it also in calcium chloride. Just one bid.
That's correct, yeah.
And there's no other option there to get other bids?
The bids are advertised, and that's what we're getting. I know in the past we used to have two suppliers for the calcium. But this new supplier is closer to the valley. That's why the other supplier that used to bid is no longer putting a bid because he cannot compete.
Yeah, the transportation cost is too expensive.
Correct.
To bring it down here.
Yes.
Would there be any benefit partnering with some of the other folks in the valley to get our chemicals transportation costs down and then maybe expose us to cheaper chemicals?
Actually, like for the chlorine, that's what they do. Whenever they have a shipment, they try to put it together with other cities. Like their truckload, they can carry like up to 24 tons. They come to Brownsville, they go to San Benito, Harlingen, McAllen, and then they go back to
Yeah,
Corpus.
they do it to their advantage.
Yes.
They call the other enemy,
Correct.
but, yeah, I would do the same thing.
Yes.
Since I'm in the history, I would do the same.
Yeah.
You know, the cost of, what was it, the calcium chloride that we used to stabilize the water really justifies the fact that we pushed so hard to get the bypass back. And so I'm glad we did, at least somewhat, so that we can reduce our use of that.
Yes.
So, okay, he's read a motion. Do I hear any other questions or?
Make a motion, Mr. President.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. On to the next item, presentation and discussion of the Southmost Regional Water Authority follow-up audit report.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, perfect. Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. Melida Pinales, Director of Internal Audit. So the agenda for today includes the scope, the objectives, the overall opinion, the findings, and the 6-month follow-up recommendations implemented, and then if we have any questions. So for the scope included a review of the area's internal controls for the period of October 1st, 2022 to September 30th, 2025. And the process entailed reviewing job descriptions, interviewing personnel, and conducting field testing. On the objectives, we reviewed policies, procedures, and any available work instructions. We reviewed any departmental records and reports. We reviewed the data management, the SCADA system. We reviewed city works, which include service requests and work orders. We also reviewed files on vehicle equipments, on the vehicles, equipment, or any tool checklist. And then we ensured adherence to safety procedures, including safety programs, proper personal protective equipment, and regulatory compliance, including the job safety analysis forms. So 6 months ago, on the overall opinion for the report, the controls addressed within the scope of the audit needed improvement. The areas that needed improvement included the consistency and accuracy of cost allocation and process documentation, and the audit resulted in 4 findings. And then other minimal issues were conveyed to management during discussion during the audit. So the findings included work instructions, improper cost allocation for janitorial services, well site inspections, and records retention process. So we came back and we did a 6-month follow-up, and all recommendations have been implemented. All work instructions have been finalized and completed. They have corrected all the coding for all the cost allocations for the janitorial services. Staff is completing monthly Staff is now completing the well sites and they're logging them. And on the records retention, they coordinated with the records department. The 11 boxes of records were picked up. 9 of them are ready for destruction, and two of them were sent to storage. Do you have any questions that I can address?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
On finding number 3, well site inspections, when was that implemented?
So the process was being done. The only thing that when we did the audit, there was actually no documentation or
Right.
no log. So as soon as we completed the audit, they implemented that process, and it has been done ever since.
Which was when?
So we completed the first,
April?
we would have completed it in December of 2025, sir.
Okay. So we had discussed this at a previous meeting, maybe in March,
Yeah.
about the inspections,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I vaguely,
we didn't have anything on report. They weren't reporting at that time
right.
either.
So How are they documenting their information? And this is just for everybody, not, I guess, for you. How are they documenting their information? Is it just on worksheets? Is it on some kind of electronic
They
device?
had to sit that on, they were writing.
They were writing it down. That's what I
Right,
remember.
we're trying to get a spreadsheet
we were
developed so
trying
we
to
can
get-
track,
that's-
track issues and.
That's right, yeah.
Yes,
Honestly,
it's
honestly,
being
a simple-
documented in a paper, hard copies.
Honestly,
We created a
simple
log
checklist.
with a checklist,
Simple-
and that's how it's being done.
Oh, did you have something to say?
Yes, honestly, a simple checklist and some photo documentation. I mean, heck, there's timestamps that we use for my guys, right? It's just timestamp photos and, and simple checklist that'd be so easy to do every time they go out there. I mean, we had some fuses blow. We had some downtime in the last, on the report that we saw earlier on some of our well sites. So it would be nice if it should be more proactively inspections, not reactive, like, hey, we're only going down because there's downtime on the site. We should be doing it more thoroughly, checking into these locations more frequently. Is there a certain time to do the inspections? Is it like once a week, or is it on a on-call basis, or is it only a need, or how are they doing the inspections, guys, on
Yeah.
site?
Yeah, they're being done monthly.
Monthly? Okay, but we're having downtime sometime twice in a month, 3 times a month, so that then are they doing inspection logs then?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question.
Is there any way we can turn
up?
up the volume on the speaker in this room?
You're good. I'll talk a little louder if I need to.
Okay.
Are they doing inspection logs also when they're doing whenever these fuses are blowing on these well sites? Are they also doing an inspection log as well on during those times, or is that a separate report that we can get?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Here,
Oh, that's okay.
we're turning up the volume in the back.
Okay,
It's
no
not
worries,
you,
that's-
it's the speaker here is just,
Oh, you're good. I'm so sorry.
no
But
worries.
no, just let me know when I'm good to go.
If I understood the question is, he mentioned that are we doing inspection logs on the well system? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. But are we doing them whenever only on breakdowns, or are we doing it more proactively, just like a once a month inspection? Because I know we're having some fuse issues, I believe, on one of those well site locations after a meter. So are we doing well site inspection only on then, or only reactively? Like, are we doing proactively inspections on these
He's
locations?
He's asking between reactive and proactive inspections.
Yeah, the inspections are proactive. They're done monthly, and of course, there's always reactive. When a well goes down, for some reason, we meg it. It is determined whether it's the motor or the pump, and then we schedule the replacement.
Okay.
I guess we had brought this up a few months ago, Mr. Garza, about creating some type of electronic database, maybe based on each well, what you're finding, so you can track what's going on at those locations. If we're seeing consistent deficiencies in one well month over month, we have a basis for making a decision
Correct.
on that well, versus having it on a piece of paper. There's really no way to be looking at historical data.
I've looked at some of the writing, and no offense, I have really bad handwriting too, but no idea what was written.
Good afternoon, David Ramirez. Yes, as far as the question on bringing over inspection data that we currently keep on paper onto a proactive electronic database, that's something that we readily have available in other facilities, and we can readily bring it on to this particular operation. And we can give you updates on that.
Great.
That would be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because, I'm always asking for data and I'm plotting it in weird ways, so.
Correct, yeah.
And all it does is just validate the guys, to be honest with you. We just like to see the validation. We want to see if it is being done, or are being serviced, and if there is a well that's, that is giving us more financial difficulty. We need to look at those numbers as a board. So I appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other
Thank you.
questions? No? Great job. Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
Well, with that, we will talk about date and time of the next board meeting.
So the date and time of the next board meeting, typically we meet would be August the 3rd, unless there's a conflict and we need to reschedule. And the PB board meeting is scheduled for August the 10th. Would you like to continue with the current schedule of the August the 3rd, or move the board meeting day?
There's a small possibility I may be traveling, but I'll have to check and let you know.
So we'll schedule tentatively for the meeting for the next SRWA board meeting for August the 3rd of 2026.
Okay. Sounds good? Okay. Well, with all that, I will entertain a motion
Motion
to,
to adjourn, Mr. President.
Second?
all in favor, say aye.
All right.
All